little guy is one of my shroomy spoonies. And you can see he's kind of a Parisian themed one. Now he is not baked, so I want to be careful how I handle him because I don't want to smush him. So we're going to use several different mica powders on him and several different brushes. So I am going to use my Marjorie's Magnificent Blending Brush. And I'm going to use my tiniest and one of my favoriteest brushes. Favoriteest, is that a word, or am I making up words? And this is my Magic Mister brush. Now you can get these in a set of 2 in the shop, and I love both of these brushes. The mica powders we are going to use for this are actually 3 different ones. Okay, so we're going to use 3 different mica powders. And all the mica powders are in the shop. The 3 that we are going to use this one. This one is part of the new set. This one is called Brick. This one is called Rock. And this one is my absolute favorite. This one is Carousel. And so I'm going to use, again, these 2 brushes. So I'm going to use this brush for the fine accents and this brush for the larger accents. So you can tell my hand, it's not really bruised. I'm a bad girl. This is how I clean off my brushes. But I have found over the years, now nobody laugh, that the oil from your hand actually helps to keep your brushes soft in between washing, and I only use my brushes for specific things. So this brush never gets used for anything but mica powder, as with this one. So if you keep your brushes separate, that will also help the longevity of them. Okay, so I'm going to use Brick first. Now I am going to just use what is in the lid because this is a very dark mica powder. And I'm going to put red where there's already red. Okay, so now what I do is I am going to use the reflection of the lights that are already in my room. So I have several lights here. And wherever I see a natural light or highlight is where I'm going to lay that brick down. Okay, now can you all see what that did? Now I'm going to use my finger here for this, because it's a larger place. But see how natural that looks in just that right place on the lip? Can you guys see that? Maybe I need to kind of rotate that around. Can you see that? Oh. Can you see what that did? And if that's not enough, now I already have some powder, some pigment powder, just natural chalk powder on his lip. Okay. But this is how you add mica to a sculpture. And you would do this everywhere on his face. But you have to flatten it and kind of dull it down a little. It's going to make those mica particles sit flat to give it that nice natural shine instead of a blingy shine, and also to bring out that beautiful pigment. Do you see that? Okay, so now if you notice, anywhere where there's red, I'm going to add some more. But I have red up here at the top of the ears. I'm going to use this tiny brush. This is the Magic Mister brush. I love this little tiny brush. And put some right here. Right, again, I'm only putting it where I'm seeing the natural highlight from my lights in the studio. If I don't see a reflection of light in the studio, then I'm not going to put powder there. Okay, so think of mica powder as highlight for your sculptures. So that's why it's in so many colors in my shop. So it does have, okay, this again was Brick. It does have a place in sculptures. Now let's use the Rock. And this is, Rock is like a silvered, like a bright metallic silver. I'm going to put it in just a tiny little bit, take it right out of the pot, and then I'm kind of wiping the brush here in the lid. Now this is my own color palette here, but I made like a dark kind of brownish, blackish, silvery thing for his beret. And again, I'm going to use the light that's already in my studio to add his highlight. Now, of course, if you want to dump mica powder everywhere, go ahead, you can do that. But I like to trick the eye into seeing a highlight even more that's already there, okay? All right, now the last highlight is the most important, and that's the Carousel. And Carousel is a beautiful almond pearl. So I don't know if you can kind of tell from the actual sample that's on the top of the jar, but this goes with absolutely everything. I'm going to dip it in the Carousel, get it nice and loaded, just kind of run it around the top of the jar. Mica powder lasts a really, really long time. If you purchase an individual jar from my store, I offer refills too, so you only have to buy your jar once, so you can get your refills then. Okay, so I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to look at, move this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and look at my face. And I'm going to take the almond and I'm just going to kind of add. So even if the highlight goes at an angle, I'm just going to go ahead and put those little highlights. Now I'm not going to make anything softer yet until I put the rest of the highlights on. But you'll be real surprised how far just a tiny, tiny little bit of highlight will go. And for some reason, I have always found when you do a sculpture, ears, for whatever reason, have a ton of highlight. I don't know why. Ears always just have light bounce off of them like bananas. You always have to like hold your brush at a funny angle. Again, that's why I think I've always kind of like gone to shorter things. Now, when you turn your piece around, you should still see similar highlights. And they shouldn't be like completely different. They should still be relatively the same. I always give them a little turn or two. Make sure I like what I see. And then again, because I have fat fingers and some of these places are real tight, clean off my sponge. Let's go ahead and brush these in. You can use a Q-tip if you have to, but a Q-tip will add feathering and sometimes that, you know, I call it Q-tip dust or Q-tip hair, whatever you want to call it, to your piece that I don't necessarily want. I like these shroomy spoonies because they have a little bit of, I call it dirt. They have a little bit of dirt to them because I brush them with chalk pastels. So they have this nice kind of dirty look. That I like. Okay, so now he's nicely highlighted. And when you, let's see, can you guys see all his nice little highlights now? You should be able to kind of see them and know that they're there, but they should not jump out at you like, ooh, that's mica powder. I mean, it shouldn't be like this, like royal steampunky look. It should just be, I see one that I missed down here. See, I could even see that in the camera because it was so bright compared to the others, just because I didn't lay those back down the way that I should have. Okay, you guys see that? Okay, this is my really dirty guy. If you have never noticed from seeing my creations, I really love big noses. I don't know why. I'm just drawn to them. And this guy isn't quite as dirty as he looks. The camera makes it really dark or really dirty looking because there's no light coming from in front. So he's not quite as dirty as he looks. But he's pretty good. He's kind of got that scoundrel look to him. Doesn't he look like a scoundrel? Here, he looks kind of scoundrelly to me. So we're going to do something a little similar, but he's got much more russet on him. So he looks like he's been, ooh, I just knocked his ear off. See, this is what happens when they're still unbaked. But he kind of looks like he's had a tough time during the pandemic. You know, he's you know, he's working hard to get over something. I mean, he's got a nice red, crusty, busty nose, you know. He's got red on his forehead. He's definitely got a cold or something going on there. I mean, truly, he does. He's struggling with something. So again, I'm going to use this brick, mica powder. I don't need any of the rock. I'm going to use brick, and I'm going to use Carousel. So I'm going to use, again, Marjorie's Magnificent Blending Brush. I'm going to load it a little bit heavier this time with that brick. Yes, Monica, that's exactly why we're friends. I love your big, big nose. I've never noticed. Do you have a big nose? I can honestly say. I said I like sculpting things with big noses. I never said you had one. All right, so here we go. I've got this nice highlight right here in the middle of his lip. Look at that. See that? Isn't that great? Take my finger, press it down, blend it in. Still a nice little sheen. Yeah, like that. Okay. That is a juicy lip. Look at that. Okay, now, because he has a cold, and because the pandemic hit him truly hard, I don't know what happened. I should name him like Cornelius or something. I don't know. Dude, he's having a bad time. I mean, look at that. Yeah, he is. I love him. Yeah, let's give him a little bit of red blingy bling bling. Right there, man. Look at that. Let's blend that up a little. See, I literally push my powders around. Do you see that? Oh, yeah, let's push that in more. Let's give that a nice... Oh, yeah, look at that. That's great. See, it's settled, but it's awesome. Look at that. See that? It makes me giggle. Oh, okay, now we're going to put it up here. So if you look at the top of his forehead, up on that bridge, it looks like he has a fever. He does need a mask. He does. But then it would cover up his schnoz. I couldn't do that to him. The nose is where it's at for this guy. All right, so we're putting just whatever's left of that red right here. We're going to put a little down here on his flat cheeks. He's got flat cheeks because, you know, he's a guy. Not every guy has big cheeks. I like that these brushes are small because if you've noticed, I haven't had to put it down. I can sculpt and still use these things, which is what I truly love about them. Now this brush does not come in the brush set. This brush is on its own. Again, this whole time I haven't said it, but I'm using the highlights still that are in the room. I'm going to add a little more red. Be daring, Katie, be daring. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah. Just kind of turn it around back and forth. Look at that. Okay. So we're done with brick. Hey, wasn't that a character on that TV show, The Middle? Wasn't his name Brick? I think it was. I don't know. I've only seen that show a couple times. But I remember thinking that that was a strange name for a child. Okay, so now I'm going to take the Carousel, and I'm going to kind of layer it where this crease is here in the nose, because there's also a nice reflection here. And I'm going to put it here on the center of his eyelids. Okay, I just down here above the lip, and if you're on a person, girls always take their little highlighter too and put highlighter. I don't know, I don't wear much makeup, but they always put highlighter right here. Well, there's a natural reflection right there too. Even here in the lights in my studio. So, okay, I think he's about had it. What do you think? You like this scruffy looking guy? Who you calling scruffy looking? Okay, so we have this guy from So you learned how to use mica powder on sculptures tonight. So I think I have, well, I have a full complement. There's 14 powders you can choose from. You can buy sets of different powders. But the other thing I have, if you're not interested in a full jar, if you just want to see how my powders are different because they're all pigment based, is I also have samples in the studio. Samples of different mica powders. So you can just try the set of samples if you would like to try those as well. So I think that is it for tonight.